Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, special edition of the Terrible Podcast. I am Alex Kozora. As always, alongside me is Dave Bryan. Thanks for being here for this Monday, August 9th, day 9 of Steelers training camp in the books, and I would say the hottest one of camp so far. Maybe one of the hottest practices I've ever been to. It's been a while compared to past years, I suppose, but 90 degrees, sunny, and the conditioning was tested of this team today, and to hear Mike Tomlin tell it, he was none too pleased overall by the output.
Yeah, what was the, you know what the humidity was out there today?
Not a dry heat, I'll tell you that much. I don't know what it was, but I can tell you what it is right now. When I got in my car to leave, obviously you've been sitting in the sun all day, the temperature read 102. So that's, imagine doing that with pads on and all that fun stuff. Humidity right now is only 43%, but I don't care. It was hot.
All right. Mike Tomlin after practice said it's kind of the dog days of summer today. Some guys were thriving. Some guys were surviving. It sounds like it could be a lyric to a rock song or something.
Yeah, that was ABBA.
Okay. There we go. And that's just, I'm surprised you know who ABBA is. And that's just a part of this process. Don't get me started on 70s stuff here, Alex. Don't do it. And that's just a part of this process. It's good to challenge them openly along those lines and see who can respond to those challenges. The guys that were thriving, can they continue to do so tomorrow in the face of some of those circumstances? The guys that were in a survival mode, they've got to step it up. It's just part of it. The mental aspect of this journey is a significant one. We're not going to run away from it. Today wasn't a good enough day. We'll see what tomorrow holds for us. So with that, surviving and thriving. I guess that should be the subject of today's kind of recap there. So I guess we'll start with the offensive line. It didn't sound like there were a lot of guys thriving or surviving, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the newest member of that offensive line. We'll do some housekeeping here to start things off. That is Malcolm Prigden. Is that how you say it? Prigden,
I would think.
Prigden?
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain is mush right now, so I'll go with that. Yeah, he was signed to the roster today. He will wear number 64, give himself some offensive line depth. They waived injured Calvin Taylor, who we reported the other day had that foot in a boot. Was out of a boot yesterday, but out of a job today. Unfortunately, him being waived injured. Also not practicing today included Antoine Brooks Jr. for the third straight day. Second straight miss for Ray McLeod. James Washington did not see him today with a right knee issue. Benny Snell looks close to a return, maybe even by tomorrow, but not today. Kalen Ballage making progress. That does not look to be serious. He's probably about a week away if I had to guess. Stephon Tuitt was back on the field but did not practice. And Ben had today off. Also looked like a pretty light day for Juju. He was out there in individual work. I don't think he got work in team today.
Mike Tomlin was asked about James Washington's status. He says he's being evaluated for medical purposes. I'll have an update for you guys, I'm sure, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, Mike Tomlin's going to meet the media, I think, at 12:30 Eastern time. So we'll see what Mike Tomlin gives us as far as an injury update. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, though, right, that Kalen Ballage, Benny Snell, probably Antoine Brooks Jr., a few of those guys probably aren't going to play Thursday, right?
I'm going to leave the light on for Snell. The other guys I would consider out. And I mean, Snell is 50-50, and I think he has to probably practice tomorrow to have a chance to play on Thursday. But I think he's really close, and he needs the reps. He needs to get out there. He's probably pushing to do it. And Chase Claypool, I didn't mean to give Twitter a scare, but it looked like a scary moment for a brief second late in team sessions today. It looked like he hobbled off, but he called off the head trainer, John Norwig, and he was fine, finished practice. So all good there. Joe Haig has a wrap on his right knee. I don't know if that's something minor or what. Obviously, he did practice in full today, but just wanted to mention that as well.
All right. And the team has waived Dax Raymond from IR with an injury settlement. I just found out a little while ago. Just wrote that up. The roster is now back at 90 active, I think, right now,
Right.
and a handful on IR right now.
2 offensive line, the question you had asked, I thought it's so tough to judge sometimes. Obviously, you see one bad rep and you think a guy had a bad day, or one good rep and you think he had a good day. But a core four got beat as bad as I've seen by Cassius Marsh on an inside swim during team today, not even a O-line, D-line session. And so Marsh had a great rep there. But I think these tackles the last couple of days have had their hands full with Marsh and Melvin Ingram and Alex Highsmith. I think Haig had some bad moments today, and I thought a core four got beat really bad on, granted, a great move by Cassius Marsh.
This was the same Chukwuma Okorafor who met the media on Sunday afternoon saying he's happy with the move, making the move, likes to move back over to the left side, more natural side there, but I guess, look, I would think he's probably going to play against the Eagles, wouldn't you? I would think they would have probably everybody in there. We'll see, obviously, see who the left guard is. But at this point, I would think you're going to try to get everybody that's healthy on that starting offensive line to play Thursday night there against the Eagles. And I wouldn't think Zach Banner's going to be part of that. I don't know. It seems like they're ramping him up a little bit, though. So I guess we'll have to wait and see as far as that goes. I wouldn't think that Mike Tomlin would push him. But, stranger things have happened there. But I think we'll see Okorafor at least get some action Thursday night.
I think you could see Banner. It could go either way, and I understand you don't want to rush him, but it would not shock me if he got even just a series or two. We'll see on that. Kevin Dotson, by the way, was in full action 100% today. He worked in every single team session, but as second team left guard behind Rashad Garrett. So I know we made it a point to really pay attention to that today. He was 100% as 100% can be, although he did not work in O-line, D-line for whatever reason, but he's still running second team behind Rashad Garrett. A quick note on third string left guard Brandon Walton. He was a tackle in college, I believe. He's just too small, not strong enough, and I don't see it with Brandon Walton.
Okay.
Let's go to quarterback here at the top. Don't have a whole lot to know today. No 2-minute drills. I thought everyone was fine. I don't think anyone was too terrible or too great, just on my watching it live kind of view. Ben did not practice.
Tell me about the long pass down to Claypool from, who was it, Rudolph? Was
that late in practice?
Yeah, it seems like it was later.
Yeah, it was 19 yards, so I guess a fairly decent pass. I think it was a great route by Claypool. I just saw the tail end of it at the top of the route, and Hayden was running the other direction, and so Claypool, I think, had a really good move or stem or something to shake Hayden. So it was a really good route, more than it was an A+ throw, I thought, and that was after the Claypool ankle injury. So I was like, okay, this guy's good, because whatever route he ran, either Hayden guessed wrong or just got fooled. But Claypool had a great route there.
I know yesterday we mostly talked about Dobbs and all. So, based on, since this team has returned to practice after the game, so that would have been, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I think 3 practices now there. Tell me what's happened with the 3 behind Ben there. I guess kind of rank them or whatever. Who's had the best practice? Anything stick out?
It's been fine. I think you could kind of rank him however you would. I think Dobbs has been impressive in the moments he's gotten, but the moments are so few and far between. Today was a more active day because Ben was off completely, so that's an opportunity for Dobbs to take advantage of those reps. I couldn't give you a great ranking on those 3 days in the vacuum office. Maybe we'll pull up some numbers to kind of give me a better perspective on that when I do that after tomorrow's practice. But I think all 3 guys have been, steady. I think they've all kind of steadied out some.
What does the eye test tell you? Just a flat eye test.
Dobbs has played well. It's hard for me to try to rank. I'm trying to gauge all the different components. Who's more accurate? Who's the better arm? Decision making, stuff like that. I don't think there's been really an interception or many of those thrown by any of these guys. But Dobbs has really impressed me overall with his accuracy. And again, I harped on that yesterday about that was the one thing I wanted to see from him and Haskins, but especially Dobbs this camp. And I think his accuracy has improved.
You think we'll see any Ben against the Eagles? And if we do, does that mean we're not going to see any Dobbs?
No, my guess is we won't see Ben. We won't see Ben until the tune-up game, which I guess will be the Lions game or the Panthers game. I don't know which one they're going to deem as the tune-up game now, but I don't think we'll see Ben, and so that should mean Dobbs gets probably about the fourth quarter again.
Okay. All right, carry on.
At running back, they weren't bad today, by the way. Full tackling, all that fun stuff. Couple notes there. Najee Harris had, I think, the moment of the day, and I wish I would have gotten it on camera, at least taken a photo of it because I just put my phone down. But there was a one-on-one drill, tackling drill between running backs and linebackers and defensive backs, and it is a live tackling drill. And it was Harris versus Arthur Millette, and Harris turned and got upfield, and Millette didn't even go that low on him. He was just kind of normal, and Harris just jumped him, just hurdled him and cleared him, and basically the whole leap totally over him, essentially. And so, I mean, just those hops from a guy that's 235, 240 pounds to get up that high, I mean, that is very much some Le'Veon Bell type stuff.
Fast Petey Guerrero had some runs today, didn't he?
Yeah, he had the biggest run in that live run session, a 14-yard gain, and he definitely showed that speed you talked about yesterday. He kind of hit the right corner and got upfield. And again, this is a live session, so it's not like you get tagged and you run an extra 7 yards and you kind of get it that way. I mean, this is a legit session, and so he had a big 14-yard run. And Tony Brooks-James is a guy kind of interests me. A little bit of lateral agility, good jump cuts, really good kind of laterally in the zone scheme. I think that could be effective at least in the preseason.
With all these running back, or with the most recent, Tony Brooks-James and Guerrero and all like that, and with Snell and Balaj banged up right now, I would expect. I would expect Snell and Balaj probably not to play against the Eagles.
Yeah, but Balaj won't. I think Snell, if he practices tomorrow, I think he could, but okay. Balaj won't play.
And then you wonder how much will you actually get to see of guys like Brooks James and Guerrero. If they get any time, it's probably not going to be much, and it'll probably be fourth quarter because look, you got you're probably going to get Najee a couple of carries in this game. Obviously, you want to get McFarland some work, and then what's going to happen after that? You're going to get Jalen Samuels back out there again, and Trey Edmonds out there again. So it'll be interesting to see if those because this might be the last opportunity for a guy like Brooks James, and I don't know. We'll see what happens with the final. But I mean, won't they have to cut down to 80 by the time before the preseason game? I think.
That's a good question. The cutoff date, I believe, is the 24th. I don't know when the last preseason game is. I think it is before the last preseason game, though. I think you're right. They have to cut from 90 to 80.
Right. So if they use the third game as the tune-up game. Ooh, this is an important game for a lot of those bottom end of the roster guys, I think.
That's a good point. Trey Edmonds, by the way, had a fumble. It was a toss to the left, and it looked like a good toss, and Edmonds just dropped it, and T. Garris-Garrels, who had a good day, recovered it. And so Edmonds has had, I think, at least 2 fumbles in camp so far, and he doesn't get a lot of touches. He's made some plays in the flat, and it's been okay, but the ball security, which is something they work on every single day with a lot of different drills that Eddie Faulkner does with those guys, you want to see better ball security from Trey Edmonds.
All right, any flavor of the day, receivers stick out or anything?
I was going to mention that really good route that Claypool ran. Other than that, nothing much coming to mind. Isaiah McCoy had a touchdown on Killebrew and a really good stock block on, I think it was the Guerrero run or one of the runs that they had in that session. So I like the effort and size and kind of finish from Isaiah McCoy, who again has that James Washington like skill set and is trying to battle for a practice squad spot.
Cody White, what position are they playing him at?
I saw him in the slot once today. I don't think it's his primary spot. It is tough with the lines getting kind of thin, with Juju not working in the team and McLeod being out and Washington being out. But I have seen White move around some. Anthony Johnson got a lot of first-team reps today because Juju really wasn't working in full. And so he gets a lot of work in that big slot type of role, like a Juju, obviously not nearly as talented as Juju. I think he talked with the media after practice. And so just a good day for Anthony Johnson to work with the ones and get an increased opportunity, although Ben wasn't practicing, so he didn't get to catch passes from a new quarterback.
All right. And anything else stick out wide receiver-wise at the bottom of the depth chart there?
No, I think that's about it. Same with tight end. Pretty quiet today. Didn't really see much of Freiermuth. Marcus Baugh had one nice catch on a rollout to the left from Josh Dobbs, but that's probably it for the offense.
All right. Defensive line was eaten today, weren't they?
They were. Carlos Davis, I think, had the sweep in O-line, D-line. Granted, it was against Pridgeton, and so that is a new guy, and so context there is key. But they had a lot of good battles there. I always say Amir Abdullah. It's Abdullah Anderson. That's my guy, and I say his name wrong sometimes. He had the 3 reps against Leglue, lost the first, but then won the last 2. He's got quick hands. He's a really hard worker, like I've mentioned time and time again. And Isaiah Loudermilk was kind of getting off blocks, and I think making an impact in run session and in O-line, D-line. So I think his hand use has improved here.
The edge rusher's another good day, I take it.
Yeah, Cassius Marsh, really good day.
Has he gained some weight? Does he look bigger?
You're good at seeing these things better than me.
Well, I go over and I look at the, I don't get to, I'm not out there with you guys to see it firsthand, so I have to live vicariously sometimes through photos on Steelers.com and all, this time of year, and all post practice and all. And I always try to get over there and to see if they give you any clues that they're not supposed to, and with of who's running with who, and second, just kind of look at some of the builds on some of these guys here this time of year. And to me, it just looks like he's just a little bit bigger. I don't know if you can tell or not. I threw it out there on Twitter. Hopefully Cassius Marsh will answer back at me or something, or maybe somebody will see it and ask Cassius next time they see him. But he does look just a little bit bigger to me than after he was picked up late last year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you can go to a gym this year a lot easier than you probably could last off season and those kinds of things. So, I mean, maybe. Have I noticed that myself? No, but I'm bad at gauging these things. So I think, honestly, you're probably a better person to answer that than I, even though I'm the one that's actually there.
But as we talked, I think even yesterday, or was it this morning, I'd lose track. I mean, we just seem like we do these things every day right now.
Yes, we do.
Because we do, I guess. He's having a good camp, though, isn't he?
Yeah, to me, he's still the number 4 outside linebacker. I think both with where he's running as the second team outside linebacker and his own personal play, run and pass, especially pass, though, has been impressive. And Alex Highsmith, I think he's been as active as anybody in some of these run sessions. This guy seems to have a tackle for loss, and anytime they go live, tackling. And I think it might have been Gentry he beat today, so it is just Zach Gentry not starting off as a tackle or something. But this guy seems to blow up a run every opportunity he gets, and so he's been really dominant in those type of environments.
Okay. Anything stick out in the bottom end of the edge rushers, the Quincy Roches or the Jameer Jones or any of that today?
Not a whole lot. Jones had some nice reps in O-line, D-line, edge, however you want to call that. Don't talk about Jamar Watson too much. Just haven't seen much from him. He's been third team. I think mostly, been left outside linebacker. But, occasionally you might see him number 50, but not a whole lot to talk about there.
All right. Inside guys, how's that coming along?
Marcus Allen, nice job in that one-on-one tackling drill I mentioned with Najee Harris. Had 2 really good tackles, one on Brooks James, one on Derek Watt. Got some praise from the coaching staff, so good to see that. Him being a heavier hitter and wrapping up from not being a big guy overall. Calvin Bundage and UG3 could probably take some pointers from that. They're good athletes, but I want to see them finish. Bundage can make plays in coverage. He's good at the counterpoint. He's athletic. He can move side to side. Can he finish, though? Can he be able to break down at the right time and not dive and miss and extend? Because those guys aren't big, strong type of guys. And so they have to wrap up well, because if they're lunging, they're not going to have the upper body strength to finish those plays. And I think those guys just weren't finishing. And I've seen that at other points in camp in that drill. And so there's talent there, but they kind of have similar strengths and weaknesses.
Was Buddy Johnson a thriver or a survivor today?
I probably couldn't give you a great answer on that, to be honest. I saw him working out there a bit today. I thought he had a good – what did you think of his game against the Cowboys?
I'm sorry?
What did you think of Buddy Johnson's performance against the Cowboys?
Kind of nondescript, really, to be honest with you. I mean, there was an instance downhill in the chasing the football one time, I think, out in space there. A good job in that, but really kind of nondescript. Other than that, not good or not bad. He just really didn't stick out other than a couple of those that I just named there.
He blew up that screen. I mean, he kind of
right. That's what I was talking about there, out there in space, right there. That one, and then one downhill, I think. And it's hard to see because you don't have the end zone view to see if what he had to fill and all and trying to get this off TV tape makes it so hard to kind of evaluate those guys, And we've done it obviously for years during the preseason without tape, but you get so used to in season knowing what to look for and scrapes and fills and those kind of things that. You kind of rely on your your football knowledge there. So, I mean, it was just kind of nondescript for me.
I'm going to sound like a grade A politician here, so I apologize, but I'm going to pivot off that question and just talk about the rookie class in general. The only rookie that's missed any sort of time I think this is accurate. I hope it's accurate. It is Pat Freiermuth. So just the availability of these guys being in practice every single day, being in their first game, and getting those reps. And Freiermuth just missed a practice or two and then was held out of the game. So just kudos to this rookie class for being ready and prepared and being around to soak up all those reps. Because that's the starting point. If you're missing time, if you're not conditioned, if you're hurt, unfortunately, then it's just a really tough battle. So for all those guys top to bottom, kudos to those guys for just being there every single day.
All right, what about the secondary today?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of notes. Joe Hayden, it never seems like he has a great camp overall, but then he just does fine in the regular season. So people kind of ask me about that occasionally. Why don't you talk about Hayden? Or Hayden looks like he's struggling, but I think he's fine overall. I will say, I think James Pierre is a really aggressive corner, and that can help him a lot sometimes. But I think he needs to work on his angles to the football occasionally. Sometimes he's just a little off one. I think he tried to undercut a route to Eric Ebron today. Haskins floated it over both of their heads and went off Ebron's hand incomplete. But Pierre definitely has that aggressive mentality, which is good and valuable. But I do think he has to work on maybe picking his spots a little bit better and just working on some of those angles of the football.
All right, now I understand a couple of wide receiver and Mark Gilbert got into it a couple of times today.
Yeah, Gilbert it was on Ebron actually on the last play, 7 shots. It was tied at 3, so that was going to be the tiebreaker. And they threw a jump ball right corner back of the end zone, and Gilbert defended it well and broke it up. And I think there was a play. It was Denmark actually.
Didn't Bussey get into it with Gilbert a couple times today or no?
Like a fight or scrum?
Yeah.
Not that I recall.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I might have missed it. It might have been in a different drill, like maybe in 7-on-7s or something. It might have been in 7-on-7. They were there was a commotion over there. I was watching O-line, D-line, so I don't know. Maybe there was something I missed.
All right.
That's possible. Denmark had a breakup on Tyler Simmons' last play of practice. And Tigre Scarroll was inside linebacker, by the way. Thought had a decent day overall, a fumble recovery of Trey Edmonds. But Pierre just watched him a little bit more today and just think he has to work on just smoothing out those edges a little bit.
Do you think this team will and should extend Joe Hayden after they get T.J. Watt done? Would you?
No, I probably wouldn't. I mean, Joe Hayden's been a really good player and a great teammate and all those valuable things, but he's 32? Yeah, something like that. He's closer to 32 than he is 30. And so I think some of that loss of speed's been a little evident over time. And it just, when is that play going to fall off? When is the veteran savviness and the football IQ, which is off the charts, but when will that not be enough to overcome some, father time type issues? So I probably wouldn't do it.
Do you think they will?
He's a better question.
He's talking evidently, and Matthew just wrote about this from an interview just that went up today, that it sounds like Joe Hayden's kind of expecting it to happen, but
is that him just trying to lobby for it publicly?
Maybe,
though,
it very well could be. I mean, it's gonna be. I don't think I would. I love Joe Hayden, but I mean, and I'm not sure I do at this point right now. I think I wait until see what kind of season he has, and then see if we can work something out before he hits free agency next year. Is what I think I'd do, but
right.
we'll see. I really haven't given much thought to that potentially happening, really.
Right, and it's not like he's itching to go somewhere else. He probably doesn't want to play anywhere else, so you can kind of let that thing ride out this season. And it's not like he's going to be like, well, I'm gonna test guys if you don't give me an extension. Well, I don't think you actually are, Joe. So
call you bluff, huh?
Yeah, and not that I think he would bluff, because I think everyone kind of understands. So let's just kind of wait and see what happens after the season. But to answer the question, I probably wouldn't do it. And will it happen? I'm not expecting it. I mean, who knows? But I'm not anticipating it happening.
Yeah, I'm not either there. But it might be something to just. I mean, well, obviously they got to get T.J. Watt wrapped up here pretty soon, and we'll see. I still wonder if that might get done maybe Wednesday or Thursday of this week. I don't know.
Really? Is there? You're not hearing anything?
I'm not hearing anything. It's just what I've got like it's one of my it's 6 cents of the 12 that I have.
Does your knee hurt or something? Is that how you can kind of sense it? There's a contract coming. Is rain or a contract?
Back where I normally put my wallet. That's where it usually hurts.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm starting to get that feeling in the posterior rumpus area okay. Right there. No, I just it would make sense that right now is kind of the time, because once again, you got that ramp up game coming, and Just, and they love to do this right before they go into a weekend, so no media can happen, and no interviews, and then they hopefully they think the contract numbers will get lost in the shuffle throughout the weekend of football. It just 1 and 1 equals 2 here, and that 2 would lead me to speculate, and that's all it is, mere speculation, that maybe Wednesday or Thursday is when a deal would get done.
It's the first time 1 + 1 has ever equaled 30 million. But
there you go.
Yeah. We'll see. I hope so. I mean, and obviously they might do it for a Friday night news dump thing, but they should celebrate this moment. I mean, let them talk to the media. I mean, it should be a celebration, not something you're running from if you're the team.
Well, it's one of those things you could do on the sideline during the game too, if you wanted to, right? And let the Steelers have the full pleasure of delivering such an interview during the game, So
that's true. That's a good point.
I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but it would make sense maybe a Wednesday or Thursday, especially with the and that assumes maybe their third preseason game being their tune-up game, because if it is and he doesn't play in that one, then he's probably not going to play in a preseason, right?
Which is I'm fine with. I mean,
sure.
I'm okay with that, but I just want to get him some team reps before the season begins.
All right, nothing on the specialist today. They did a lot of holding or whatnot, right?
They did kick. It looked like every kick was good. I can never tell too well from my angle. Boss usually they alternate one and then the other goes, but Boss had 9 kicks today and Sloman only 4. Again, I tweeted that stuff out and it means absolutely nothing really. Harvin was doing some holding with Boss, and that they were kind of rotating Barry and Harvin with Boss. So that's, I guess, maybe something that says Harvin's getting some work with Boss to see how that relationship is. But not a ton to note there today.
All right, tell everybody about Lynn Testa at Touring Plans.
Yeah, sponsor of our Steelers training camp coverage for, I think, basically the entire time I've been doing training camp. Maybe,
long time.
Say every year. Big shout out to Touring Plans and Lynn Testa. If you're planning a trip to Disney, those are the people you want to go through for logistics and the best way to have the least amount of stress possible. Because anytime you're planning the family vacation, I'm sure it can be very stressful, and you obviously want to try to eliminate that, especially for something probably as big as a trip to Walt Disney World. And so if you're planning a trip there, those are the people you want to talk to, and check out their website. That is touringplans.com. And we thank them for their continued sponsorship of our Steelers Depot training camp coverage.
All right. Any other kind of final thoughts before we get out of here on what you observed today? Anything maybe really stick out or anything you may have missed? This is your opportunity to hit it right here.
Oh, no pressure on this one. Let me look at my notes here really quickly. I don't think so too much. I mean, I know at this point, fans have watched a game, and so training camp interest dies down a little bit, and I totally understand that. So obviously I'm excited to get the game action too, and so camp probably becomes a little less relevant than it did before. But nope. If I did miss anything, though, you can read it on the post on Steelers Depot, sticky to the top of the page.
All right. Alex and I will be back on Tuesday at the same time, recapping what he observed earlier in the day at Heinz Field. And then, obviously, the Steelers close whatever kind of practice as they travel to Philadelphia. They're on Wednesday, the game on Thursday. They're off on Friday. So after tomorrow's practice, Alex won't be back out there again until, I don't think, Saturday there. So hopefully you listen to all these podcasts and all, and supporting Lynn Testa at Touring Plans, our sponsor, and all. So in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. And let's see, we appreciate you listening to this special edition of the Terrible Podcast 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers training camp. And as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.